Okay, so we will talk about ClientScript today, and
Okay, Rahul, yesterday you didn't send a video to us, right?
okay,
Link.
I have not uploaded it,
Hello?
so I'll upload and send that to you.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Rahul, we are not continuing the same example today.
No, we will continue the same example. We'll continue the same example. We'll talk about ClientScript, and then we'll try to build those ClientScripts, write those ClientScript into our apps here, in the modules that we have written. We'll try to write ClientScripts and see how these ClientScripts can be useful for us. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So as we talked about, client scripts are, scripting that you write to do, server client-side validation or client-side operations. Whenever you design a form, you have to validate something. You have to validate your fields on the form. You have to compare fields on the form. You have to set dependent values. Although for dependency, there is another mechanism available of dependent variables, but still you can do that using ClientScript on the front end, right? So, so ClientScript is very useful to do all these kind of front end validations, right? Now, ClientScript, you can find it within system definition, within catalog policies, within service catalog, you get it the catalog ClientScript, which is related to service catalog. What we are interested into right now is the system definition ClientScript, right? So ClientScript, you can write it from here, clients within the system definition. When you hit on ClientScript, you will get all those ClientScripts written already here on this content page, right? Now these ClientScripts will also be related to certain types, meaning what type of ClientScripts are these, because when you are trying to validate something, you can validate when the page is loaded, when you can validate when something is changing on the page, you can validate when you are submitting the page, right? So these kind of options will be available. The type of ClientScripts are available when you do operation on the page itself, right? Another one is on cell edit. So different types of ClientScript we have. That's four type of ClientScript we have, which is on change, on load, on submit, and on cell edit, right? Now the ClientScript that we write, we will have to specify at least, we will have to specify one type of the ClientScript that we are trying to write. Now, the ClientScript that we write will be directly related to a table for sure. Whatever table that you are working on, table meaning module. So if you are working on marketing event module and you are trying to write a ClientScript for it, so that ClientScript will be eventually related to the marketing event table, right? So that's why you have this table column where you see that these individual ClientScripts that you have written will be related to the table that you have here, right? And then again, application scope will be related to the ClientScript because for marketing event application, I'll have a ClientScript which is related to the marketing event table or equipment request table, and that is scoped into the marketing event application. For other application, if I do on this record, if I do filter out, so for other applications, we can see that security incident application scope is there for this ClientScript, which is related to this table, right? Likewise, the code search application is in scope. You have this ClientScript written for the code search group table, and that is within the code search application that we have here. And the type of the ClientScript is on change, right? So these are few important information that we have to fill in while we try to create a ClientScript, right? See, when I'm opening up an existing ClientScript to see what it contains. Let it open. So here we can see that the name of the client script has been filled by the user who have created this client script. And let's make question vote read only, right? The table is social Q&A question, which is KB social QA question. So this client script that we have written is related to this table directly, right? UI type is both here. UI type can be chosen as mobile or desktop or both. Right? There are three options available in UI type. It means that, see, when you are trying to design forms now, you want your forms to be designed as responsive forms, right? Because it should be independent of what device you are using to create the design, right? It should be able to run on the tablet, it should be able to run on the phone, and it should be able to run on the computers, PC, desktops, laptops as well, right? So ServiceNow gives you these kind of features available here, and as far as this client script is concerned, you have to choose what platform you are trying to build this client script for. For example, the mobile device or the desktop device or both. So if you do not choose, if you choose desktop only, then this client script may not run on the mobile devices that you use to run the ServiceNow instance, right? So depending upon the cases that you want to serve, depending upon the devices that you want to serve, you should be choosing the UI type here into the client script. Okay. Now the type is on load. So here, so this client script that this user has written will be loaded, will be actually executed when the form loads. Meaning, if you open up the form, you refresh the form, this client script, whatever it is written in there, the client script in the script, that will be executed then when the form is loaded, right? Description and message are, you know, optional fields and quite comprehensive. To understand, the description is to describe what we are doing into the client script, and if there is any message that you want to display, you can write that here as well. It's just like description that you have these messages here. Now if you do not tick this on, if it is not active, this will not be applicable, so you have to keep it active. Inherited ensures that this client script that you have written is inherited from another client script, meaning there could be another client script related to it, right? Now global is tick, which shows me that this client script is applicable for the social knowledge application, but can be accessed globally. Now when you choose the type of client script, like on load, so the function signature will be appearing automatically. For onload, it will become function onload. For on submit, it will become on submit, etc. Right? So, so these are the few important fields that we need to fill in when we try to create a client script. Now, this is one way of accessing client script, where you go to the system definition, click client script, go into the content pane area, click the new button and create the client script. Other way could be to directly go into the application. For example, if I go onto the let's say if I'm going into the equipment request, I directly went into this module equipment request, and I am now clicking this new button. So I have this form now, right? On this form, I want to write a client script, so I'll do right click, configure, and I'll go to client scripts, right? Now see, by doing this, what it does, it opens up the same client script window content pane, but it shows 5 records. That's because out of the all 1,000 odd client scripts available into the database, it is referring to the table which is related to marketing equipment request. That's because we chose equipment request as module here, or the table is in this record. So it actually it applied a basic filter out here to filter out the records that, from the client script records that you have within the database, and showing all the relevant records to this scope of equipment request, right? So you now see six client scripts coming in here, which is written only for this equipment request table. Not equipment request, which is applicable to task table, but task table is somehow inherited by the equipment request table. So you are seeing this task table here as an item into the client script. Right? Now, the type of client script that we have here is onload, onsubmit, onload, onload. Right? Now you can see and you can say that why do we have so many onload scripts? Right? Can we not write one within one onload script here? Yes, you can, but you can also write your logics, your client script validation into other onload scripts, and when it is executed, it will check which of these scripts are active first of all, and then it will see the order of creation of the client scripts as well. So in the order it has been created or the order which it contains, the client script will be executed. Meaning, if this modify comments was created first, so it will have a lower order, it will be executed first, and then update geolocation on task will be executed later, which might have a different order, right? Still, all these client script will be run on the load of the form and will do whatever it is supposed to do, right?
So this is you created just now. I mean, you created it, or it was available by default.
These are created. These are created by me. This is because this marketing event application uh, is what we call is a custom application that I have. So these client scripts are created by me. I think the task one, since it is filtering out on the task table as well, so this simultaneous update alert is default one that you might see because this is on task table. But rest, hide data delays, modify comment labels, update geolocation on task, I think these are created by me. Now let's go into one client script. It appears to be a very simple client script that we can see. I'll change the application scope. No, hide edited list is also not part of the marketing event application. It is part of the global application. So that's why it is showing me as this is a global application, but I am into marketing event application. Now say I opened this client script in edit mode. Right? Now, what are the information that is filled into this client script? The first one is the name of the client script. The next is the reference to the table where you want this to be applicable. So here in this case it is task table. Now UI type, as we discussed, it would be desktop, mobile or both. Right? We'll leave it to default both. The type of script that we're talking about will have onload, onsubmit, onchange and onCellEdit. I'm going to cut this script from here and I'm going to choose onSubmit. When I choose onSubmit, it will give you a signature of function onSubmit. You can write your script within onSubmit. If you change it to onCellEdit, it will give you, the signature for the CellEdit function on that event, and it gives you the field name as well, right? The onCellEdit gives you a field name because it is to identify what field name you are actually going to edit the values for, right? So you choose the field name on which you want to do the cell edit operation, and then you use those field values here, the new value and old value, and write your script accordingly, right? So on load will give you this, on submit will give you on submit, on change will give you the, again, field name is required because any of the field that you have changed or you are going to change, you have to take the old value and new value and then use it accordingly on the script, right? So this way you choose different types of scripts and different fields that are to be used for writing that script. Now let me go back to one example specific to let me see, I think marketing event has one client script that I have written. Mm, and here in this I do not have. Let's write one. So let's take an example. Um, I want to, so see, when I open this equipment request form, when I click on this equipment request form, the task number gets generated automatically, right? And this is a unique task number. So I want to write a client script that will make sure that this number field gets disabled when the form is loaded, right? So the values are filled automatically, but I want to disable this. I don't want somebody to change the task number here, right? Because that's a unique field and I do not want to play with it. So on the form load, I want to keep this disabled, and then we can write a client script on submit that will make sure that um, the empty values, or maybe yeah, the empty values, for empty values we can do UI policy. Let's do a comparison on the needed until and needed from, and we'll make sure that needed until cannot be less than needed from. Right? So this is the case that we are going to do. So I am going to write a client script for this. So for that I'll create a new client script here. So this will be, let's say, let's say onload client script. Table is chosen as equipment request. I'm going to mark this as UI type as both, right? And type, I'm going to do it as onload, right? Description you can put as make task number read only, something like that. I'll leave this message as field blank. Now here few things are to be noted by us is how do we get the value from the form, right? I know that on the form there is a field which is known as, the field name is the number field. Now I want to get the value, whatever value that has come there, I want to get the value from that number field onto this form in this script, right? How can we do that? So to do that, we have a function, we have a class available as we talked about GForm. So first of all, the name of the field is number, so I remember that. Now to access the value, to access this number field and get the value from this, I have to use a function from the GForm class. GForm class is the class which is used to get all the, which is used to play with the client side components that you have, do operations on the client side components that you built. Now I want to get the value from that form, that field. So I have a function which gets value using the get value function. So it says returns the value of the specified field, right? So during runtime, I want to get the value from the number field. So I am going to identify that number field here, and this will give me a value, whatever value is there into the number field, right? So GForm is to be used. Now, right now we do not need this value at all. We just need to make this read only, right? So for setting that field as a read only, I can use a method which is gform dot set read only, and I can specify the number field here, and then I can make it true, right? So it expects two parameters. First is the field name, another one is the boolean value of true and false that you may use according to the need. For example, if you want to enable or disable this conditionally, you can put that true or false accordingly. In some cases it can be true, in some cases it can be false, right? So stuff like
Just
that.
a quick question,
Yeah.
Rahul. Can we debug this script?
Debugging, yes, there are various options available for debugging. We'll talk through all the debugging options. We'll find out there are debugging options available, like uh, to debug it, you can put some alert messages. So because this is client-side validation, so remember that. You can put some
Yeah, yeah.
client-side messages. If
Okay.
it is a server side, you can put some logging into the logging mechanism that we have in ServiceNow. We can use some JavaScript debugger that we have. If you go here, JavaScript log and field watcher, we will try to see how we can use these to get the values that we have onto the with the program during the runtime. So we'll try to find out all these information, right? But upfront, what I can do is I can use JavaScript alert, right, to see any value if I want to. We'll look for other mechanisms to debug later, but for now I am going to put like this, right? So when I load the form, I want to get the value from the number field, and I want to show it as a pop-up message, as an alert message, right? And then I have set the number field as a read-only item, right? Now this script box that we see here, it's in itself it is an IDE. It has certain functionalities available that you may use. The first one is to disable syntax highlighting. So if I do something wrong here, let's say if I write something wrong, see, if I miss the semicolon, I get a dot here which says missing semicolon, right? So if you disable this, you will not get that syntax highlighting here. You can toggle it on and off. So this gives you the syntax highlighting feature. This one is to make a line comment. This one is to format code. So if you have alignment issues in the code, that will format it. Uh, this one is to replace, search and replace things. This one is to search. This one is to find next. This one is to open up in a full screen, right? And then this is to help. This is to get to save the script that you have written, and this one is to check the syntax of whatever script that you have written, right? If there are syntactical errors, it will inform you. So we start with this very simple client script where we want to put that number field as a read-only item, and before we make it read-only, we want to get the value from the number field and show it to the user using that alert box that we just put here. Now I go back onto the equipment request. Now this is applicable on the new request as well as it will applicable on the existing request. Right? We'll see both. So I'm going to create a new request here, new equipment request. When I click this, I get this task number from this number field. The gform dot get value number field got me this value for task, the number field here. So the task 21389 is the value that I received from here, and I am showing it as alert box here. When I do OK, it sets the number field as read only, right? So the script that we have written, the client script, is applicable now, and this is a onload client script that we wrote, right? So when I loaded the form, my script was applicable. Now if I go back and I open any existing record, let's say I'm going to open this wireless mic, at the form load it is giving me the task number that was there on the equipment request, and it is giving me the number field is as read only now, right? So the client script that we wrote is applicable to both existing records and the new record that we create. Okay, so this was very simple client script on load of the equipment request form. Let's go ahead and modify these client script more. The other condition that we had was to compare the start date needed until, needed from, and needed until. And if the needed until is before needed from, we have to show a message, right? So let's see the field names first. It's needed underscore until. The other one is needed underscore from. Now, getting rid of the alert, we don't need that. This we need. Here I am going to put a variable, and I am putting var needed from, and likewise I'm going to so this way I can get the value into the needed from variable that I have written, and I am copying this and I'm going to put this into needed until, change the variable name here. Okay. Now I can apply a if block here, and I can say if needed until is less than probably this one, right? Then you can show a message. Let's say you are doing, there are different ways of showing a message. We will look through it. I'm going to put this message needed until cannot be less than needed from. Something like that, right? There are other methods available to show messages of some kind within the GForm class, which are GForm dot show error box, show field message. I'm going to use field message here, and I'm going to put this message. Okay, so just two messages I am putting here. I'm updating it. Now here in this case, needed until is 3rd of August 2016. Needed from is 2nd of August. I'm going to change this value from 3rd of August to, let's say, 1st of August. Yeah, this has now changed, and now I'm going to load this. When I load this, my script is now running, and it is checking needed until cannot be less than needed from, right? A message was displayed. Now there was no action associated to this client script. I just wanted to show a message, so that message is getting displayed here, right? But if I wanted to do certain action on that, I could have done some action as well. On a new record, I'm going to do needed until as 8th of November and needed from, let's say, 10th of November, which makes it a lower date for needed until. Choosing the marketing event, and then I'm going to submit it. This is not applicable because the script that we have written is on load, right? So the script that we have written is written onto a wrong operation here. That's an on load operation, right? So to enable this kind of validation on submit, what should I ideally be doing is I should go and write a client script which is on submit of the page and put this validation script onto the submit operation of the page, right? Because onload is not the correct place to put this kind of validation, right? So I can go ahead and change this to on submit and copy paste the same code here, right? And then can submit it.
So you have given two messages here. So which one was,
I'll show
proper?
you. I'll show you.
Okay.
The other message will appear when we submit the form. So if I go here and I'm going to update this, wait, looks like that is getting overridden by the alert message that we have. Let me change it to on submit now because this is, I'm going to
Okay. Yeah.
comment
That
this.
that's the message I was talking about.
Yeah,
Hmm.
when I update it now, it is loading. Oh, sorry, I should have used I have used show field message. So I should not use this show field message here. I should have used, what is that, set show error box. Displays an error message under the site field, form field. Oh, I should have used this add error message. Something like this and update it. Now I go here and I update this. This is the message I'm talking about. I think I need to hold this on the same page. I do not want to go out of it. This message that we display as a red message there. So that is the message that we're talking about. I think we need to break it. We need not go to the home page after this operation. So need right and um, there is one.
What, respond dot redirect?
No, there is response to redirect is also applicable. Redirect will not be available. That is .NET, right? So we can do the method is set redirect URL. Let me quickly check that. That is set redirect URL. You can provide the page name where you want to redirect the request now.
Or you can introduce a new button there called save, and then save button will keep you on the same page.
Right. I think submit. Let me see. This action.set redirect URL is one thing that we have. We can use this. We can use window.location as well because JavaScripting is applicable here, so we can use that as well. Let me look into another example here. I think return false should work here. If I do not return anything. Let's see if it works. Go here. Return false will work. So this is the message we are talking about. So using that GForm.add error message, I can see this message coming in, which is red in color. If I choose a different message method there, for example, if I choose another method which is g_form.add info message or something. So the same message will appear as an info message, and that info message will not be red in color, that will be probably blue in color. So here I'm on the same form and I'm going to update it. When I update it, this is error message that is coming here. This one is some info message which is coming from the add info message method that we applied there, right? There are several other methods for different operation that we should be using. For example, if I go back here and I write g_form dot, so I'll see these messages coming in. See, add decoration, add error message we just did, add info message we just did. Add option is to add a choice list field dynamically on the form, right? So you can use that. Clear messages, if you have applied too many messages on the form and upon this operation you want to clear all the messages, you can use this clear message. For example, I can use this clear message here before putting any message and then update it. So if more than one scripts are putting messages on the form somehow and we are unable to clear that, then we can use that clear message method there, and when the next time when you do operation, that message will be first cleared and then you will write your new messages. So stuff like that. So you can use that method as well. There are other methods available that we should be using, and that depends upon the case that we are serving, what case we want to use. So clear value, if you are wanting to remove values from a field, so So you have to remove, you have to use this. So you have to provide the field name where you want to clear the value. So if I use the number field, so although we made it read only, no, we do not have this field value as read only. So I'm going to submit this. Going back to the marketing application, equipment request. Now on submit, I want to clear this. That's what I have written, right? So we can see that this value has gone away when we submitted this request, right? So we use that clear value method there. A lot of operations that we usually do, there are methods available for it in the GForm class, right? So we do not have to rewrite those methods. We just need to browse through all the methods available here and use them. Disable
So,
attachments. So yeah.
Rahul, every field on the form it's supposed to be associated um, with the table. Let's say, let's say, or is it possible that any of the field on the form is not associated with with a table, and then we need the what you call the we need um, we need to grab the value of that particular field using JavaScript.
You
So
know,
you understand?
yeah, I understand the question. So every field that you see on the form will be associated to the table. So the answer to your first question. So every field that you see on the form will be associated to the some field into the table. So to get that value, you can use gform dot get value. So there will not be any field which is not associated to the table in the backend. Make sense?
Yeah, because like in some of the cases we have like a static list of
Mm-hmm.
country, and then I have provided that country list in the script only,
Mm-hmm.
which is I say on load fill this drop down control,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will show you that country list which is not so I'm trying to avoid one server trip, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm filling that country drop down through client script only. Okay, so in that case, so is it not, this is not possible in service now basically?
No, no, no. See, what I'm saying is, whatever you are bringing, if you are putting a macro, there is one thing known as ServiceNow macros that you can use. The macros are like reusable components. So, for example, this client script that we have written, we are applying this onto the marketing event application table, right? Marketing event table, equipment request table. Now, if you are bringing certain field values onto the form which is not related to this table but related to some other table, right? You might have used any reusable component, any special component that is pulling out data from another table, and you are still displaying it on the marketing event form, equipment request form. That data that you are displaying is still coming from some other tables or records, and you can use it using the get field method into the GForm. So anything and
So
everything that comes onto the form is related to some table, right? It's not in your example that you are talking about, the record that you are displaying on the form could be coming from a different table. So in that case, the data that you get from there will be referenced from the different table that you have talked about.
okay, so it has to be come from the table. It is not possible that you can create a control on the fly and then fill the value in, or through the script.
That is also possible. For example, if you want to put a HTML control which does not have any reference to any database tables, and you just want to show it onto the form, just kind of informational message, right?
Mhm.
And you are doing some in memory processing, meaning you do not have to store that into database. You are just doing some in memory processing on the form. So that is also
Mhm.
possible. There is a way to do that too. Create that control on the fly, let the values be displayed on the form, do not store into the database. So I can
Right.
try to find out the example for you in that case as well. That is also possible. You can keep that onto the form without having that stored into the database.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. We might need that kind of, we might land into that kind of scenario where we just need to show certain values onto the form and do not store into the database. So that's possible. Right. Um, Now there are different other methods. I think it's better that we keep going and looking into all of these methods available. Some of these are very common, and we have by looking at the names, you can understand what these are and what these will be doing. But then some of these will have a specific synthesis that we should be looking into. For example, the uh, where is that? Add option. So if I have to use this add option, I have to supply the field name and then I have to supply the choice values and then choice label. For example, see if I want to do add option, then I have to supply a field name. So let's we do not have any choice field on the form. So anyway, let's try to do a new choice field. I think it will allow us to do that. We just need to know the syntaxes of what syntax we want to use for that method, right? So for that we need to go ahead and look into all of the methods that we have into the GForm class. I don't have a choice field. I think this add option will only be available if we have a choice field. Add option adds a choice to a choice list field. If the index is not specified, the choice is added to the end of the list. Yes, if you have a choice field on the form, you can add option to that choice field. You cannot create a new choice field using this method and add values to that list.
That is the
So
same thing you are doing, which I was asking earlier.
yeah, exactly the same thing that you were talking about. There is another way. There are another ways of doing that. I'll try to find out that information. So my
Here
point,
we are
yeah,
adding, let's say we are adding, we having the countries list, and then you need to add option on the top of it like select,
right,
so that thing you can do it.
yeah, yep. Now, so exercise for you will be to go through all these methods and you know apply this on the form. Some of these are see show these are informational methods like show related list, messages, error box, set visible, set value we did, set visible we know, set read only we did, set mandatory we know that we can do this, set label of if during the runtime you want to change the label of any particular field, you can change the label of it. Set display, if you want to display any field, make it true or false, you can do set display. Set disabled, if you want to make it disabled for use. Save saves the record without navigating away from the record. So save and stay on the same page. For example, when we cleared the number field and we didn't save it, but after clearing, if I might have used gform.save, we will stay on the same form, but the record will be saved into the database. So you can use that. Remove option, if you want to remove any option from the form that we have. Remove decoration. So the decoration messages are like the messages come around the field. If you want to remove those decoration messages, you can do that. Is section visible? If you are creating a section on the form, you want to set visible or false for those sections, you can do that. If you were to check if the record that you are working on is a new record or is an existing record, you can do that check here. Mandatory checks, we have done that. Hide, these are again informational messages kind of things. If you want to hide related messages, related list, field messages, error box, you can do that. Get value we just did. Get unique value will probably give you the sys ID of the record that you are playing with. Get table name will give you the table name during the runtime, what table name you are referring to. Get sections will give you all the sections available on the form, name of those sections. Get section names will be giving you the section names. Get reference will give you returns a glide record of a specific field. Get reference except the second parameter. So this is related to glide record and will help you out to get references and data from the tables into the database. So if you want to on the form, let's say if you are doing some validation on the form and you want to get a reference from the database from the table, which is a server side operation that you are trying to do, right? So again, you can use that get reference method, use that glide record in conjunction with get reference and get data from the database and show it on the form or do certain operation on the form. Get option is to get options using the choice fields that you have on the form, right? Likewise, we have these other methods that we should be looking into. Get action name, get boolean value, get element, enable and disable attachments. So enable and disable attachments is to enable and disable this button that we have on the form, right? So if we are onto the form, we might see this attachment button coming in or we might not see that. So you can control that using these methods that we have, enable and disable attachments. Clear value we just saw. Clear options. If you have a choice field and you want to clear the option and then recreate the options available into that choice field dynamically, then you can do that. Add option, we just saw that you can use it to add an option into the field choice field if you have on the form. Again, add info message, add error message, and add decoration are informational messages that you can use to display on the form, right? Now, sometimes what will happen is you have to use some certain server side script onto the client side, right? So there are a limited set of scripts which are actually server side but can be used on the client side as well, right? Some scripts are client side and server side, and you can use that onto your client side as well. So if you want to get a list of all those client side and server side scripts, we can get it here. See, client side scripts that we are able to use are these: client Ajax, glide Ajax, glide Ajax version 3, glide window, glide record is here. Now see, I want to focus on glide record right now. This glide record is to access records from the database, right? So you can say that if it is to access data record from the database, how is this client side script, right? So here there are certain operations allowed into the client side of the glide record API, right? If you go to the server side of it, you will get a different list of operations available into the glide record API, right? For example, add order by add query, delete record, get. These are the methods available if you are using it client side. If I go to the server side of it, and if I go to the glide record, expand it, I still have some of those methods which were available into the client side of this API. I still have those methods, but then there are other methods which can be used only into the server side, right? So some of the scripts that we see here are both client-side script and server-side operations, server-side scripts. There are some limited operations that you can do client-side, and you should be making use of it, right? But be wary, be aware that some of the methods which we have into the server side of the script API will not be available into the client side of the API. Okay. We will do a comparison of it, client-side methods and server-side methods available for different APIs, including glide record, and we'll see what we can do on the client side, what we cannot do on the client side. All right. Now, for that, for getting a client-side development, what we should be doing is we should be looking into each of these APIs that we have here, right? And we have to our intention is to use at least one example from each of these APIs that we have here on this client-side scripting, right? If we are able to understand these APIs, the methods available into these APIs, we are, a lot more covered from the developer side, and this is all we'll have into the client side development of the application, right? So same exercise we will do for server side. We'll go to the server side APIs, we'll browse through all the APIs available, and we'll try to execute at least one example from each of the methods that we have here, right? And we'll try to relate that with a particular use case into our marketing event application scope or into some other application scope. We'll try to use that. Okay.
Okay.
So go through these API listing, do some reading. I'll have all the examples for these, APIs ready, and in the next session we'll go one by one and see through the examples. You can also practice and come back with examples and queries, and then we'll try to resolve that, right? It's better that if you have any question or query, you send that over email so that I get prepared, because there could be some issue that I see while executing that on the during the session. So we'll be better prepared, and we'll resolve that on call when we do a session next.
Okay.
Okay. So after we do this client side, we'll move to the server side development. We'll see some server side components. We'll try to build